Good morning, everybody. It's time for another delicious edition of Texas Oatmeal. And today, we're working on the Vanderhall. Because what else would we do? The truck's just chilling. Looking, still pretty good, considering I don't drive it anywhere. But yeah, I'm gonna clean the Vanderhall up because it's still filthy from the long drive down to the Twisted Sisters the other day. So I gotta do that, clean it all up, make it all pretty, and install something cool and new that had USPS, our lovely postal service, not lost it, we would have had it for the drive down and back and the long road trip that I was just on, but I didn't. But it's this right here, and it doesn't look like a whole lot. It's just a piece of aluminum with a tiny little bend on it and some double-sided tape on the back side. So what this is another genius idea from Paul Riccio. So the same guy that made the splitter for the front end that performed like a champ the whole way down and back. So over 1,000 miles on that splitter, no issues. Bolts didn't back out, nothing. I mean, perfect. Anyways, he makes this, and this is a debris deflector, or whatever we want to call it. I think debris deflector is the right term for the back of the Venice. It's going to go down here and keep like the crud. You see how this is real dirty and gross? It's going to keep all this crud from collecting above the fuel tank. This is the fuel tank right here. This is all the fuel tank right here. This little chunk of aluminum or whatever it's probably made out of. I'm sure it's aluminum. So it's going to keep debris from collecting up here on top of it that gets inside there. Mine's not super bad today because we didn't drive through a whole bunch of junk, but it definitely gets pretty gross up here. So we're going to clean all that up as best we can. I mean, like super clean it, because since this attaches with double-sided tape, we need this to be super clean. So I'm going to wipe it all down with, some cleaner or something from Mother's and get it all as clean as I can. I'll probably take this, take the panel off to get the tube and everything super clean, because, there's a gap there. But anyways, get all this cleaned up. It's also going to hide the wiring that's just chilling right here that doesn't look very pretty. And it's going to make everything look, just 1,000 times better under here. So yeah, so I'm gonna get to cleaning, and I'm not gonna bother you guys with all of the steps of cleaning because that seems pointless. And we're gonna skip right to installing this deflector. Actually goes this way. So we'll be right back. Okay, so everything's super clean down there. So peeled the red backing off, and this stuff's ready to go. Cut this off, like say about, maybe not even an inch, maybe half an inch or something short of this edge here, which looks pretty close, just kind of eyeing it down underneath there. This stuff's ready to go in. Moody's not being very helpful. She's just rolling around getting dirty. Okay, so again, this is super clean in here. Cleaned it off with alcohol and everything as best I could anyways. We're not performing brain surgery here. Anyway, so we're gonna lift this up in there. I'm just pushing it up where it makes contact with the bottom side of these, more or less. I might actually let it drop just a touch, but of course this is just, literally just trying to guess kind of how it goes, but it's kind of nice that you don't need any tools. But putting it up in there, I'm gonna let it drop just a little bit. Back to the drawing board on this a little bit, because I'm gonna have to cut this corner of this off, because on my Vanderhall, on the very corner right here, I've got a huge chunk of weld that is so fat that debris cover comes to here, and it wants to sit up over here, and then obviously it doesn't touch the gas tank, so the double-sided tape doesn't stick. So I'm going to notch that corner right here so I can put it on here. I'm also bringing it down a little bit lower to get it below the majority of the weld anyways. So there's going to be a little bit of a gap on mine. It's not going to sit all the way up here. It's going to sit a little bit lower because of that, but at least it's going to cover the majority of it, so I'm not too worried about it. It's better than nothing. But yeah, I mean, this is no fault to Paul. I mean, obviously he's not going to know that, but I'm going to let him know that something you got to consider is that these welds are done by hand, not a machine, it looks like, and they're not the best. So got the glasses on because I'm about to start cutting. Alright, just like that, we are cut. I went ahead and kind of rounded it all off so there's no sharp edges with the Dremel. And now that hopefully will fit better. I mean, here's the chunk I took off. It's probably kind of hot. Not too bad because the aluminum cools off pretty quick. But, you know, it took a 1/2 inch diagonal here at a roughly 45 degree. I literally just did that by hand, so whatever it is. But it should fit pretty good now. Let's go see. Oh yeah, so that's gonna be much better. So fits in there at a little bit of an angle. You can see this is how much gap I've got because of that giant glob of nonsense. So you know, I'll get it lined up as best I can when I go to stick it on there, but at least it sits flat enough that the tape will adhere to the tank, because it's not gonna work if it doesn't stick. So anyways, that's the idea now. And for everybody that probably was immediately panicking about me leaving that exposed, I hit it with a little can of black spray paint so that the edge of it is covered and is not going to be shiny silver and just bare aluminum. So okay, new and improved piece. All the double-sided tape backing pulled off of it so that we can get this bad boy in there. So I'm just gonna eye it because I don't really have any other way to judge it, and kind of get this side tacked on real quick just so it's touching a little bit, I think. And then yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go for it. So just like anything else, you double-sided tape, you want to make sure that you hold it on for 20-30 seconds. Okay, so if you can see this one is mostly not shiny. Okay, like those are pretty shiny because they haven't touched anything. So what I found is that as I went to push this on there, the bottom was touching just fine, but the top is now being pushed away because of the weld at the very top of the tank. So this flat design right here is not going to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this piece of tape with a new one. These aren't even touching, and put another one up here so it will actually touch the weld itself. But if you have some of this, or if you go out and buy some of this, you might need it for this application, because if your welds are like mine on the tank, this is not going to work. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna redo this tape on the back side and go stick it back on there. Alright, boys and girls, so this is what I did to remedy this problem. I'm going to mount mine a little bit lower than I originally intended, or that this is intended to be mounted, just because I'm going to mount this right at the bottom edge of that top weld that's actually on the fuel tank, which is going to give me a pretty decent gap at the very top. but it's still gonna be better than nothing. I've already talked to Paul, and he hasn't noticed that on, at least on the ones he's installed, so it could just be mine's a really poor weld job. But that means there are some other ones out there that are also a very poor weld job, and this won't sit flat. But I got a couple strips on there, nice sticky stuff. Again, this one's probably not even gonna make full contact. It might make, it's gonna make a decent amount of contact because of how low I'm gonna mount this. But then this one will actually hit, it's probably not any of this. It's probably gonna go on half of this size, you know, very easily. But I mounted a little bit above where the angle actually breaks over, and then this that's down. So a lot of this is gonna make contact. So it's gonna be good enough, because again, this stuff's really sticky, so it's gonna work. But that's what I've had to do so far. Cut that corner to clear the corner of the tank where it's like super piled up with the weld. And then I'm just gonna mount it a little bit lower. So here goes. All right, so here we go again. Get this tucked underneath here. This should have been a very quick install. And I have a feeling on a lot of people, for a lot of people, this will be very quick and easy. But in my case, this has been kind of a pain. So I'm gonna get her on there. Oh, try to make it where I know for sure it's not touching anything. I don't want it touching the sides because that's gonna be a place to rattle, but it's not sliding up in there with anything touching, so I'll go with that right there. Oh yeah, and I can already tell that the top is touching now, where before it wasn't, because the bottom was the only place making contact, and I could take the whole top and I could pull it away like it was on a hinge or something, and now it's sticking really, really well. So this is gonna work really good. And it may not be on super straight, but she's already tacked on, so we're gonna go with it. So hold it for, you know, 15-20 seconds, probably maybe more than that. You know, it really just depends on how long you feel like holding it here. All right, now that's on there as good as I can get it. There's the finished product. Again, this should be up quite a bit higher, but because of that weld in the corner and then the weld across the top, I had to mount it down a little lower, but it's on there really good now. So that's no fault to Paul. I mean, he's not gonna know that these things are off that much, but they are. So that 10-minute project turned into like a 30-minute project. So just be aware, if you order one of these, look at your tank, see if that weld is real big across the top where it's pushing out past where the flat section of the tank is going to be. See if you got a weld in the corner that's a giant glob. If you have any of that, then just be aware, if you order one of these, you're going to have to cut it a little bit, maybe mount it a little bit lower than you originally thought. So we're going to go with that. It's on there right now. It's going to do awesome. Do keep in mind that once you put that on there, it is really pretty much impossible to get to the lower bolts that hold your rear cover on there. So if you want to get that on and off, don't put this on. That's the only drawback to it. If you're gonna get in that cover, like if you want to plan on adding extra lights or turn signals or anything like that, and you want to get to that rear section, you basically can't get to those bottom bolts. So yeah, do all your wiring before you put this on then, kind of like I did. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today. Just a quick one, which should have been really quick, but turned into a little bit of a problem. Again, Paul does an awesome job. He's aware of it. I'm sure he'll fix it moving forward. So, you know, can't knock Paul for anything he's done. He's been awesome, making good quality product. So, hey, it's the Vanderhall side of it that's messed up. This is something we know, we all deal with. Love the machine still, but you got to know how to work on it. And with that, we're going to end right there. That's it for today, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace. Also, if you made it this far and you're curious about anything else I've done to the Vanderhall, just a real quick update. I put in these sweet caution tape floor mats. They're literally tape that is grip tape, because I got tired of getting in and feeling like I was gonna slip because I don't have the little traction plates, which I've heard don't give you much traction. I think it looks kind of cool. I'm sure some of you are gonna hate it, but I don't care. And also, that's my keychain. They used to have this logo on there, and now it doesn't because it fell off. Luckily, it fell off in the house and not while I was driving down the road, but at least I can fix that.